Welcome to another live where I interview complete strangers. In the first half of the video, I ask them about where they're coming from, what they have done, get to know them a little bit better. And in the second half of the video, we talk about residential real estate. And with no further delay, I would like to welcome our guest for this week, Mitch. Hi, Mitch. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the live, Mitch. Where are you tuning in from today? Where are you?
I live in Anacortes, Washington, about 60 miles north of Seattle and 60 miles south of the Canadian border.
You're pretty close to Canada. You're very, very close to Canada. It's a beautiful part of the country.
Yep.
Have you always lived there, or just life brought you there?
No, I moved up here from LA 15 years ago.
Oh, so are you from LA?
Lived 26 years in Whittier.
Okay. All right.
Cal,
And before then?
went to Cal State Fullerton. Ironically, I was born and raised in South Dakota and lived in Sturgis, South Dakota until I was age 11.
Wow. Do you remember much from it?
Yes, but I don't remember the Harley rally.
Okay. So from Dakota to LA and now in Seattle. Is that correct?
Correct.
Or outside of Seattle, north of Seattle?
Right.
So, what motivated your first move from LA to Dakota? Must have been your parents, right?
Correct.
And how did you end up from LA? What were you doing in LA? And then what brought you to Seattle?
Went to college at Cal State Fullerton, got a degree in geology.
Ooh, I love geology. That was one of my favorite topics. And so I studied civil engineering in first 2 years of university, and geology was by far the most interesting. It was so cool. I love geology. Okay, so you're a geologist by degree.
And my dad was a civil engineer.
Oh, there you go.
And my wife grew up in San Luis Obispo.
There you go. See, we're practically family,
I know.
Mitch.
Anyway,
You're my older cousin I never knew I had. Okay.
hey, bro.
Good seeing you, bro. How's my aunt? Um, so San Luis Obispo. So your wife is from SLO.
Yes.
Oh wow, that's where I went to school, guys. If you don't know, it's a engineering school. Pretty good engineering school, I would say. Not to self promote, but it's one that was affordable. It's a state university, so just to give you guys a heads up, kind of a context, it's halfway between San Francisco and Los Angeles. So 3 hours north, you will be in Silicon Valley. 3 hours south, you will be in Los Angeles. So, and it's right by Pismo Beach, where they have a lot of dunes, and it's like the ultimate college town, really. And it was established because of the mission. So it has, how California was established by, I want to say, Spanish missionaries, where they established these missions where they invited the local natives to come and convert, and they provided cattle and support and maybe some medical help. I'm not sure exactly what they did, but that's how the city was established. So wife is from SLO, you're from Dakota, lived in LA. When you studied geology, how did you apply that to your work?
I worked in a cabinet shop to put myself through school, so it took 5 years to get a bachelor degree. Never wanted to go back and get a master's. So when I got out, I had no
Mitch,
job.
would you come closer to the camera so we can get your sound a little bit better?
How does that sound?
That's better. That's a little bit better. Okay.
When I graduated, I got a job offer for a oil service company, an industry I knew nothing about. And so I took the job, did not need a college degree, but all of our customers were engineers. I quickly rose through the ranks. They eventually transferred me to Ventura to be a district manager. And about 3 years after that, I decided I could run a company better than they could. So I quit, and with two ex-employees, we set up our own competing company. We did well and moved back to LA to set up our company where there was more work. And
Good question. Can I ask you a question? When you're doing surveys, what are typically these surveys for? Is it to like discover oil, natural resources, or are you doing like foundation work for residential building, or all of above? Did you specialize in one or?
Yes, that's a good question. When I talk about a survey, we lowered electrical instruments into an oil or water or gas well. And we can go down with electrical instruments that find out where the oil comes in, the gas comes in, and or water comes in. If they drill an oil well and it starts producing all water, something is wrong. We can find where that water comes from, and that's called a survey.
Okay. But survey is a general term, right? Like it could even be part of exploration, right? You could like they can send you in, in the boonies and say, look, go look for oil. Is that correct?
That is correct, but my specialty was strictly on production wells.
Okay, so you were probing for water, gas, other elements that it was not the purpose of the well. You identify why. So you were pretty much a problem solver. A problem arises. They're producing. They're producing. The oil well is giving, like, let's say instead of 5% water, it's producing 20% water. So they've hit it like a underbelly water reservoir underneath, and you go down there to see where exactly this intrusion to this water reservoir is coming. Right? Am I?
I think you're exactly correct.
There you go. That's why you're a subscriber. Come for real estate, stay for geology, my friends. Okay.
Good.
Okay. I told you I really like geology. I think I got an A. I thought it was fascinating.
It is.
I thought and I had no idea in college. Like I was like, what? We're gonna study like Earth and the minerals and the rocks but then it was again, it has a lot to do with the type of teachers you have. And we had a really cool teacher who made it like a history for some, like it was more like a history class in some ways of Earth. So it was really fascinating and everything. Okay, so you sent out these probes down there. You identified, and who were some of your big customers?
You remember the gas well blow up that Southern California Gas had up at
What year is this, Mitch?
5 years ago?
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, you're talking about was it gas? Yeah, it was not oil, it was gas. It was I know what you're talking about.
It's Aliso Canyon, which is the San Fernando Valley.
Yes, Portola Ranch. Was that yes?
Porter Ranch.
Porter Ranch. Yes, exactly. Porter
So,
Ranch.
So the company we set up and we did so well was doing that exact kind of leak detection for the gas company.
Interesting.
And I was the last one to run a survey looking for leaks on the well that blew out 5 years after I was in the well.
Interesting.
I started getting calls from reporters. I didn't know this was public records, but they could find out that my name was on the old survey. So I knew a lot about gas storage work.
That's really cool. Mitch, may I ask you to get closer to the screen a little bit? Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, your mic needs to pick up a little bit more sound. Oh, see, now your head is almost as big as mine. Okay, good. All right, Mitch. Okay, so here's the groundwork. We've established that Mitch is a geologist. He is very much so into. He basically started his own company, so he's an entrepreneur. He learned the skills from the other company and decided to start his own company. And when did you establish your own company?
1983.
1983. So, like, I was 1 year old, basically. Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Did you ever go to Middle East or Nigeria or Norway, anywhere exotic to do cool stuff, or was it just like oil and gas, Santa Barbara, Southern California?
I went to Oman.
Oman. Okay.
Trying to dig up work. It didn't work out. Went to Venezuela, tried to dig up work. It didn't work out.
When did you go to Venezuela? Because it's hot in the news right now.
Ironically, I had never heard of Hugo Chavez until I went down there to see if I could start up a division, and he had just run for president after getting out of prison. Okay. So it scared us off and we would not go back. We actually raised the money, but I wouldn't spend it in Venezuela. It was way too risky.
Yeah, I've been to Venezuela. That one of my best friends married a Venezuelan. I went there for the wedding. Um, Pretty interesting, kind of scary, but interesting.
It's a pretty,
Um, yeah, but it kind of yeah. I think I've been to Caracas, um, and it was interesting. So you didn't do that. So you kind of explored out to see if you can find a job, international job, but what basically was your wheelhouse was Southern California, right?
yes. And gas storage was our specialty.
Gas storage is your specialty. Okay. Um, I want to know any insight on where oil prices and gas prices. Are you following the commodities by any chance?
Yes.
You are. Okay, good. Are you commodities you're retired, right? Is that a right assumption? Okay.
Yes.
Are you trading commodities?
Never.
Never. Okay.
I do not understand it well enough. I wouldn't.
Okay. But you follow the prices.
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah,
Prices
it's pretty.
are going to fall. They're having more layoffs as of this week.
Oh, oil. Oh, you think oil prices are going to fall?
Yeah.
Interesting. There,
OPEC.
you heard it first. Don't trade on the news, guys. But, but you. Okay, very cool. So, where did you buy your first house in Los Angeles? And did you stay there the whole time, or did you move to another property?
So when I was working in LA, I was transferred to Ventura. And when I moved up there in 77, I bought my first house, which was a condo.
Where did you buy it? Where was the condo?
Ventura, California.
Okay. Okay. Did you live in LA anytime, or you stayed in Ventura the whole time?
Well, I worked in LA for 6 years before they transferred me to Ventura. Stayed in Ventura for 6 years and then moved back to LA and bought a house.
Where in LA?
Whittier,
Okay. And you stayed in that house till you moved to Seattle?
correct.
Cool.
26 years in the same house.
Wow. Okay, very good. That's not normal, by the way. I think the average in Los Angeles is about 10 years. Um, so what was wifey doing? My college alumni.
She worked for the AAA or the Automobile Club of Southern California.
Okay. I have a membership. I have a membership. Please thank her on my behalf. Great. And then, so what was the catalyst to move to Seattle?
I
The
got
weather?
I finally sold and got away from owning a company. It was a lot of work for a small firm. And I ended up working for a large chemical company in LA. And after 15, probably 10 years, I just got tired of living in LA. It was so crowded. And so they moved me up to here, this area, so I could focus more work on sales up here in the chemical line.
Okay, very cool. So, was it the traffic? Was it so the traffic really got into you, or was just overcrowded? You were tired of urban areas?
It was almost exclusively the traffic, but the revelation we had is we quit going anywhere on the weekend because it was going to be too crowded. And when we realized that, we thought, why do we even live here? And that was a catalyst to move.
I see. Any kids?
Just two cats.
Two cats. Okay, that makes it easy. That
Yes.
makes it easy. Yeah. Okay. So move to the and did you move directly to where you are, or did you spend some time in Seattle before you moved to the suburbs?
No, I told the employer I'd live in one of the two towns where the refinery customers were. And this was the smaller of the two towns. So we moved to Anacortes.
I see. I see. Very interesting. Oil and gas. One of my heroes in real estate is Mr. Abbott Keeney. He's the founder of Venice, city of Venice, where I live right now. And he was in oil and gas. He was like a tycoon, oil and gas tycoon, and I think he was very wealthy, but not like the well known, I guess, in the public. But he makes the trip to Venice, Italy, and he comes up with this idea of bringing Venice to the United States. And at the time, where Los Angeles was defined was just downtown Los Angeles. That's it, like very small, maybe 10 city blocks or 20 city blocks, pretty much over there. And then every other town or location was a suburb of LA, and they would do some sort of a gimmicky element to invite people to come in. So Beverly Hills, people who owned the land in Beverly Hills, they started a hotel, Beverly Hills Hotel, to bring people in and then sell the lots on the side. I think in Santa Monica, they built the pier to have an attraction, and there was this parcel of land right next to Santa Monica available, nothing there. And he thinks about bringing Venice to Los Angeles, and he does it. Like, massive project, really, like, it's fascinating. He's such a risk taker, and it plays out really interestingly where he creates Venice canals, and apparently it was 3 or 4 times bigger than what it is right now, and it thrives. It does really well, and real inspiration. I think it's so even hard to imagine or fathom to do anything like that, but like a proper risk taker, and something that now it's a very popular neighborhood. It's the number one tourist destination in Los Angeles. It produces the highest tourist revenue in Los Angeles. It's where the Silicon Beach, or all the tech companies are moving into. Really, and this all comes from this guy who was in oil and gas, just like you, Mitch, and he started this vision, this city. So very interesting. I want to ask our audience if you guys have any question from Mitch that you would like to ask. We can ask Mitch if I'm oil and gas. If you find a black spot in your backyard, you want to know what it is. Funny liquids coming out from your sink. You can. This is your chance. This is your chance to ask Mitch live. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Mitch, I guess we can jump into your property. You built your own property in suburbs of Seattle. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So what was the inspiration? You had never built a property before.
Never
What
had.
made you feel like you can do this?
So let me complete my history up here. When we moved up here in 2010, we moved into a brand new spec home that hadn't sold in 3 years. And it had a wonderful ocean view, and it was in a new development of 12 lots. And we stayed there for 4 years, but we were the first to move in. But as people were building around us, we felt we were lacking privacy. I'm super conscious about having a private yard. And as people built houses around us, we did not feel comfortable. So we actually sold the house and bought a house further from the ocean, but with trees on 3 sides. So we had incredibly good privacy. And we stayed there for 6 years. But over 6 years, we were over half a mile from the beach. There's lots of trees up here in the Pacific Northwest, and those trees grow in 6 years, and we were losing our ocean view. So as my wife,
and this was a property you bought and purchased, or you were renting?
No, we actually went through 3 properties in 10 years. We have owned 3 properties trying to get it right.
Okay, let me ask you this: did you make money on these properties?
Some, but not a lot.
Okay, so can you walk me through the first one you bought? How much you bought it for? How much you sold it for? And then
I think we bought it for $620 and sold for $640 4 years later.
First one. Okay, so you after closing costs, you probably lost a little bit, but you broke even, let's say.
Yeah.
Second one?
We were getting ready to retire the first time, and so we bought a place at about 480 and sold it 4 years later at about 520.
Okay, and what years was that? Can you give me a rough estimate from what year to what year?
First house we bought in 2010 and sold in 2014. Bought the second house in 2014 and sold it in 2019.
Okay. And the third house is the one that you're living in right now?
And we occupied that in June of 2020.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay, so interestingly, because on your second house, I would have assumed you would have just made a lot more money than you did. What did you say you buy it for and sold it for?
I think we bought it for 480 or 420 and sold it for about 520.
420, 520 would make sense. That would be a good. I would say that would probably that's a 20%, 25% appreciation in 4 years. It sounds more like in tune with what was happening in Seattle. And again, because a lot of you guys might not know if you're not from the United States or just not aware, Seattle is a very hot market for real estate. There's a ton of tech companies. There's great jobs. Wherever there's a lot of good jobs, property appreciation is through the roof. And then Pacific Northwest has topography challenges at the same time, kind of like Bay Area, where there's a lot of water around you, so you're limited as to supply. It's not like in Dallas, Texas, where there's endless amount of flat land to build on. So whenever you have a topography constraint like Seattle or Bay Area for that matter, and you have really good paying jobs. Again, if you don't know this, obviously, state of it's not obvious. Why do I say that? If international viewers would never know this, but Washington State has very favorable tax terms. They have a zero state tax. So if I would move from California to Washington, I will pay 13.5% less in taxes, like immediately. There's an so it's favorable for businesses as well. I think corporate taxes are also favorable, and there's a lot of big companies there. There's a lot of smart people who work there. Microsoft is there. Boeing is there. Can you name a few more, Mitch?
Not offhand because I don't live in Seattle anymore.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. I think there's a lot of aerospace companies and there's a lot of tech companies that are positioned there. And it's a beautiful part of the country. It's really, really beautiful. It just rains a lot, right? That's what everyone knows it for. It's weather is probably resembles most to England, I would say, London, but more green, way more green. It's forests and I guess more topography, more mountains. So as England is it's a flat island. Northwest is very mountainous, right? It's the upper end of what do you call the mountains there? That ridge of mountains?
The Cascades.
The Cascades. Yeah, the Cascades. Okay, so yeah, I would have. The reason I was asking that was because I wanted to know if you had bought something in closer to the technology centers of Seattle, how much you would have, how much more appreciation you would have had. And then there's obviously a trickle effect out there of everything grows, but by not the same exact percentage. So that was the level of curiosity I had. I wanted to know exactly what's going on. So you buy this land. How much did you buy the land for?
240.
240.
Three
And
eight-
then
three
how much did it cost you to build it? And tell me about the process. How did you come up with the design? What were some of the challenges you went through and what did you learn?
So you asked a lot of questions.
And you only have 3 seconds to answer. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so we paid 240 for the land and we paid 60 for the design and permits. So we're into it for 300K. The contractor charged us 1.1 million, and we put in another 100,000 in landscaping and extras. So we're into this for right now for about 1.5 million.
Okay. Are they comps to supporting that price or more?
Or more, yes.
Okay, good. Thank God. Okay. Did you look at the exit comps when you were coming up with this design?
It's not the design I wanted. I prefer a more contemporary design like you have on many of the houses in the Hollywood Hills. But we live in a division, all custom homes. 300, there's 138 lots. It's been here for 15 years, and they had very strict HOA or architectural guidelines asking or demanding for a fairly conservative design style. So when I bought the land, I worked up my own 3D view of the house I wanted, fairly contemporary, just to see if I could build the house I want. And I got an immediate rejection of that plan.
Okay. How did that feel, Mitch?
Well, I mean, I bought into the development. I got a copy of the CC&Rs. It was pretty clear.
Do you have a picture of your original design, Mitch?
I sent it.
No, your original design.
I'd
It's
have to
okay. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. Okay, keep going.
show it. But it had a shed roof. They didn't want that. And so we clashed. But again, I knew the CC&Rs. I knew what the neighborhood looked like. They're not going to let you put something that doesn't fit in their opinion. Since then, I've joined the same HOA, and I'm now the president and on that same architectural review committee. So it's me rejecting contemporary plans by other aspirants.
So if you can't beat them, join them, huh? Make
Yeah.
someone else's life miserable. Great, Mitch. Thank you.
But if you join an HOA and you get a copy of the CC&Rs, the rules are written out, so you can't fight City Hall if they gave you the documents up front.
Yeah. No, I think that has a lot to do with your due diligence, right? Like when you're buying the lot, you got to read that. And most people don't. I mean, I don't know the last person who was planning to build a property. The most they would ask their contractors that, like, is it hard to deal with or is it easy to deal with? That's like all they ask typically, right?
Yes,
No one actually goes reads the the community's guidelines of what could be built and what cannot be built. And then you find out the details once you go through revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, right, of the design. So you found out the hard way that you have to obey by the architectural committee. That's great. Okay. And what was the inspiration about the design? Like, what did you want to get out of the property? What were the things, shall I say, that you didn't like about the last place you lived in and you tried to fix with this property?
So this is the first house I've ever sat down and designed to completion. And since we've had so many homes, 3 homes in 10 years, we used our existing home, every room. How big is this room? The master bedroom, do we wish it was bigger or smaller? Living room, do we wish it was bigger or smaller? And so we used our current home as a guide to figure out what size home do we really want. And so we started with that. I had a cheap little AutoCAD knockoff program for $99, and I could whip out a floor plan in about 8 hours. And I would run it by my wife. We'd go out and look at the property, see how it would fit. And the property it's a very difficult lot because the setback from the street is required by the city. The house can't be any closer to the sidewalk than 23 feet.
Did you know that when you bought the lot?
Yes.
Okay.
And the problem with this lot, because we got it slightly under market, the problem is about 55 feet from the street is a 20-foot cliff that falls down. It's almost a straight line, 20 feet, solid rock. So that cliff, there we go. Can you go? That's the wrong file, Arvin. Go to the third posting is the exterior views. You're on the interior views. That's it. That's the front of the house.
Okay.
So that driveway is exactly 23 foot deep away from the sidewalk.
So the average location has to be, how do they measure? Because it looks like it's slanted. Oh, no, there we go. Wow, what do you think of that geology of this rock over here, buddy, Mitch?
I love it.
Is that where you wake up and have your cup of coffee? Look, what is going on here?
That's what I'm in my office right now looking at that wall right now.
Okay. Just curious, just very curious. What's the nature of this soil over here?
It's not soil, it's solid rock.
It's solid rock. Okay. And what kind of rock is it?
Kind of a granitic rock, very hard.
But easy to carve into, right?
It's hard. It's the contractor we used had the biggest rock chipper in town, and that's one of the reasons we used him.
Okay. So this setback requirement was 25 feet, and this kind of dictated a lot of stuff for you, right?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Now it seems like there's a back row. Are you on the front row of the view?
Yes.
Good. That you knew you had to cover that, right? Were you looking at other lots as well?
We looked at 25 lots, and when we found this one, we quit looking. Here's the back of the house, and you can begin to see the cliff it's on.
Yeah. Okay. Here's your front door.
Yep.
All right. Here's your wow factor when you walk in.
I love your term. Yes, it is.
It is the wow factor, my friend. Then we go here. Okay. You're sitting right here.
I am.
Okay. Yep, that's what you're looking at.
That's the den and the executive washroom. That's
Look
right.
at this view, guys. I have a client, lovely client, inner circle client, longtime client now. And they live in this beautiful, they're fixing up their own home in Seattle, outside of Seattle, Bellevue, really, really very expensive part of Seattle. And they've got this gorgeous, gorgeous views. And seems like these islands off the coast of, which I think some are American, some are, the farther ones are Canadian islands, right? Victoria Island in the distance, I think.
These are all the San Juan Islands in Washington, but Vancouver Island is visible almost at sunset.
I see. But gorgeous views, really, really cool views on a clear day. Very interesting. Okay, so let's talk about you wanted a modern design and you got this, right? That's what you wanted to. They wouldn't let you.
Right.
And they thought this would be better.
That is true.
Okay. They wanted a traditional layout. Sorry, what was the requirement? It's a traditional home, like sidings. What is the CCNRs? Is it like stone facade sidings, wide pitched roof? What's the code there?
Well, you can't have a high pitched roof because the height limits are very short.
What is the height limit?
For my lot, it was 10 feet.
Is that why you went low?
Yes.
Oh, do you see this? Do you see the downslope here?
Go back one more. So my driveway drops 3 feet in that 23-foot depth. And that was so I could build the house as high as it is and not exceed the 10-foot height limit. there's a nail in the curb that was surveyed, and that dictates everything on my property has to be 10 feet, can be no higher than 10 feet above that survey marker. And so
I
I had to lower the driveways. And that was one of the risks I took, is how steep is this driveway going to be? But I had to drop the floor of the house, the garage, 3 feet from the sidewalk to make everything fit. That was one of the design challenges.
So very interesting. Now, architecturally speaking, um, what are what were the requirements for the city or
City,
the CCNRs?
the CCNRs, the big requirement is absolutely no metal roofs
Okay.
and no shed.
Why is that? Is it because of the noise of the rain or?
Oh, it's written into the architecture guidelines. You will have no metal roofs in this development.
Okay.
And I wanted a metal roof, but again, I didn't fight City Hall.
Okay. And then what else?
There was not that much, except they wanted a conventional looking exterior.
What
They,
is a conventional looking exterior? That's so like subjective, isn't it?
oh my God, being on the committee, I'm amazed how subjective it really is. But they like siding. They don't like flat paneling. They
How
like,
about stucco? Do they like smooth stucco?
there are no smooth stucco homes in this development.
Okay, so they want traditional sidings, stone facade sidings. Okay.
Yes, and there aren't many homes with stone. I like stone. I'm surprised they approved as much as I asked for. So there's not much stone in this development.
It's really interesting. Yeah, can we? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on Google Maps right now, and I want to see some of your neighbors. Is everybody down with that? If you want me to do that, because I want to see kind of the architectural fabric uh, of this neighborhood, and um, see where we are with um what's the taste, or at least what was the taste of the palate of this committee, because you're at the mercy of possibly a bunch of people who have no idea um what the hell what looks good, or they just don't have a palate. Or let's see if we can oh, it doesn't allow you to drop pins. That's not good. Okay, I don't want to dox you here. Let me change my screen. Um, I'm gonna go remove this. Oh, sorry, remove this, and then I'm gonna go add um, stop screen. I'm gonna come over here, share screen, window. Okay, let's see. Would you say this neighborhood? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, the red dot is my house on the right side.
Don't dox yourself, buddy.
Uh,
I was trying to move it around. Okay, so here we go. Would you say this neighborhood is also? Did you see where I dropped it?
kind of. Oh, yeah, Bryce.
Okay, would you say this neighborhood over here is also similar looking than this, or this is a totally different looking area?
No, it'll be similar
It
looking.
will be similar looking. Okay, good. I'm just trying to see. Um, okay, let's go over here. Oh, I like the white streets. Yeah, they do like sightings everywhere.
Yes. So it's not just RCC and ours that want sightings. Very common up here.
Okay. Are you guys watching this? Everybody? Okay.
This is an older neighborhood, so it's not the best example.
Yeah, I kind of want to see the newer construction, like who you were competing with. Look at these views.
So the houses on the left are newer and they look more like ours.
Interesting. All right, let's get out of here. You're right next to an airport.
Yep.
Okay.
Which I thought was going to be a deficiency that'd be noisy, but it is fun to look down on airplanes as they take off. We're about 200 feet above the runway. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of activity going on in front of our house.
Here we go. We can see a new construction going up here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I got to adjust stuff what's going on here. Okay. I would say that the community has achieved a cohesive look.
Yes.
Okay. But an insignificant architecturally. It's just super kind of vanilla. But there's a, I guess there's a beauty to that. So they wouldn't allow him. There's a calmness to it. Okay, there's a level of calmness. So if someone wanted to build a modern home, they just have to put shingles on it and sidings. They would allow that.
If the shingles were painted gray, not dark, they would probably permit it.
Okay, so there's no modern homes here.
Correct.
Okay, I see what's going on. Okay, so now tell us about the challenges, other challenges you've had.
So I had never built a house before. I had seen houses go up around me, and I saw that it just seemed like a lot of contractors didn't work every day. And
Mm-hmm.
houses would sit idle for weeks on end, and they would take well over a year to finish. And so that really scared us. We did not want problems. We don't want any bankruptcies. So when we interviewed builders, we only interviewed the top two builders in town.
Okay.
And we went with the one that was building most of the houses in this area. And he had the largest rock chipper. And I
Rock chipper was a main decision maker. I like that.
the whole bottom floor of the basement is a walkout basement, and it needed to be chipped out of solid granite.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Don't do blasting, so we selected the builder who had the biggest chipper and a very good reputation. And we do not regret the decision for 1 minute. We got 2 quotes, and the big guy was slightly cheaper. And we didn't get any more quotes. And he finished the house during COVID in 11 months.
Oh,
And
wow. That's
his,
impressive.
yes, his crews worked every day. He had many of his own subcontractors. And I have no complaints at all. We are 100% satisfied with the experience.
Okay. When you were going through the design, who did you use? Did you use a proper architect? Did you dictate your views to the architect and say, this is what I want, make it happen? Or did you leave your architect's hands open to making decisions for you? How was the whole design process, layout wise? Because I want to start going to the layout right now.
So when we purchased the lot, we then had to start on the design right away. As you probably know, contractors will not give you a bid unless you present blueprints, finished blueprints.
Mm-hmm.
And I would work up a simple little drawing on my AutoCAD knockoff take it to the builder and he'd give me a ballpark figure. There we go. That's my knockoff drawing. And he would give me a ballpark, but he wouldn't give me a final quote until I paid thousands of dollars for a final design. So we interviewed the builder had a designer who quit and went out on his own. We went and found him and got him to give us a quote, which was $15,000. He was a certified designer, not an architect. We went to another architect that designed some very modern homes in the area. He was $30,000. And another architect, probably the best in town, was well over $60,000 or $70,000. By the time I was done talking to these three design people, I was knocking my own plans out in about 8 hours. And I realized by the time I was ready to commit to one of the three, I could give them a design like this and have him work up the working drawings and the blueprints to get me a quote. So by the time I selected the designer, he charged us $15,000. I brought him a little drawing like this, and that's what he worked off. He said he had never had such detail before from a resident, but I enjoy the design process, and my wife and I vetted this design. So for us, it was practically perfect.
Okay. Did you consider resale value? Did you do studies on the demographics who typically buy there? Do you know the demographics who buy here, the population makeup of this neighborhood?
Yes, I know my neighbors very well, and I know a lot of people up the hill. There's a nicer tract also built by the same builder of very contemporary homes right up behind ours. And I've known many people there. I wished I lived there, but they were much more expensive. And we actually have a better view. So I definitely designed this with the idea of resale in mind. I didn't want anything too radical.
So what's the demographic? Who's the avatar? Tell me 3 avatars of a buyer with probabilities. Like, what's the most likely person that would buy this house? And what's the highest population of people in your neighborhood, like your development?
So most people here are retired.
When you say most, like above 50%?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely above 50%.
Okay.
So there's no children, and they're all fairly well off financially. I mean, if you can afford $1 to $2 million for a home, you can figure out that they're doing okay financially.
Okay. Is there a community center? Is there like swimming pool? Is there a gym? Is there a place where the whole older people congregate? A bingo room?
No, we have a park, but there's no facilities.
Okay. All right. It just happens that most people who retire probably from Seattle, they move to the suburbs, this area, they want to view property and they design or build a property like yours. So you are your best demographic. Okay. So that's easy. That's really good. Okay. I ideally would want, what would be the second demographic that would be interested in this property?
A family might be, but probably, I mean, I only have 3 bedrooms, so that limits how big of a family. But I think the house will be family friendly.
Okay. So the second demographic is families with how many kids? 1 kid, 2 kids?
Probably 2 kids.
Okay. All right. So you decided to make the best home that this is for your ever home, correct, Mitch?
Yes.
Okay. So walk us through the house and with your decisions.
Let's start with the garage, but that's closest to the street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a woodworker. It's a hobby of mine. I've made most of my own furniture. And so I wanted a wood shop, but that would normally be a 3-car garage. But I didn't have the space for it here. So I made my garage extra deep. And you can see on the left side of the garage is a workbench and a chop saw. And I have room for my power. There you go. And I have room for my power tools in front of the vehicles.
Okay.
So I now have a wood shop. The builder actually let me build some of the cabinets in the house as he was doing construction. So I was in hog heaven to be able to do that. On the opposite wall from the garage facing the view is the only outside deck we have. It's got those hash lines because it's got Trex decking. It faces
Okay.
it faces northeast, and I put a plastic polycarbonate roof on the deck just to give it light because it'll never see sunlight.
So by the nature of the statement you just made, this disqualifies the house as a family house with kids, with two kids, because families with two kids would definitely would want a bigger outdoor space than this.
It was,
So,
yeah, definitely a problem.
but again, it definitely plays into your own demographic because uh, again, this is I'm generalizing here, but most older people I've dealt with is, especially in this price point, it changes when you go to really higher price points, is that they don't want to deal with landscaping, especially in an area where it has real seasons and change, where leaves fall and snow pound. Like they don't want to deal with any of that stuff. So it really makes your property geared towards your number one demographic, which is yourself, right? Uh, or who you were 4 years ago, right? So that's your requirement, right? That's who you're trying to target. Okay, so you come through the garage, you enter from here, which is your foyer, right?
Yep,
We're gonna go see the pictures of the interior pretty soon, but just we'll walk through the layout over here. You come out over here, you have one space, which is your kitchen, living room, and dining, right? Like you're knocking out all that stuff together. One stroke, which is pretty good. You get a corner unit, and this is the part of the house that cantilevered out, correct?
exactly.
Okay. Ennis would have loved this space. If Ennis made a house tour video, this is where he would pause the frame, send the drone out, and explain to us what a cantilever is. Okay,
Thank,
so
yeah,
this is you made him proud.
good.
He's very very proud of the situation here. Okay, and then that's really cool, very efficient, I would say. And considering you're northeast facing, you're giving it a double exposure to get more natural light because your orientation is not ideal. It's funny because I saw houses on the other ridge, I want to say. I see. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to switch screens. When you were purchasing this lot, were you aware? Um, were you aware that? Hold on. Remove this. Cancel this. Stop screen. Share. When you were looking at this, when you were buying this lot, were you aware of the orientation and if you pick another lot, because you're right here, right? You're facing this way,
Yeah,
correct?
yes.
Were you aware if you were going to be, let's say, on a lot facing this way or this way, you would get slightly better views or sunshine?
I was hyper aware of what I was doing.
Okay, good. So like you can see like these homes over here, like considering you're in Pacific Northwest, very high latitude, it becomes more significant if you're south facing or not, the higher you are. Okay.
Yep.
Now, these homes have a positive that they're south facing, but the airplanes are flying literally right over your head,
Which we would
which
never want.
which is again has its own negatives.
Yes.
So it's just kind of managing your wants and needs, but I just wanted to make sure of that. Okay, so we're going to come back to the layout over here. You walk in and then to your left is your, I would say, your smallest bedroom. You're using it as an office, but it's a bedroom.
Yep.
It has its own bathroom and you have a closet, right
Yes.
here.
Yep.
Okay, You're not getting any views. You're looking into the driveway. So it's probably the best that you're using it for an office because you're trying to be focused and everything. It wouldn't make the greatest bedroom for your guests, but it could function if you decide to. Then you
Arvin,
do have. Go ahead.
we actually put a water feature outside the window of this office just to give me a view.
Okay.
To me, the ideal house would have the office facing the view also,
Yeah.
but there just wasn't room. So the consolation prize is I have a bubbling water feature right outside my window. So it's very pretty. And I think it's important that the office face the front of the house. So when Amazon leaves the packages on the doorstep, you can see them coming and going.
Yeah. You're letting your wife know what's coming. Oh my God, Amazon, don't get me started. Okay, so we have a powder room over here, and then you have the laundry room here, correct?
Yes.
Very central. So very good. He's getting out his unnecessary or least like none of these rooms really need a window, right? So he's tucking it in on the internal spaces to make sure his outer spaces have really good views. Good. Okay. Um Now you have let's go to your primary bedroom. You walk in through here. You have a bit of a zigzag going on over here. So you have a hallway here. Seems like you've got a lot of waste on this side. Um this must be structural, I'm assuming, for the basement.
Oh, that is a privacy wall. If we walk from the bedroom to the bathroom, no guest is going to come past the doorway to the laundry room without our permission. We built that wall so nobody could look in and see us walking around our private area.
Okay. In case if you forgot to close the door.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. Um So you do have, again, when I'm looking at this, it's a lot of waste though. Like your primary has a foyer.
Yeah.
So do you have a pretty decent size bathroom, which we're gonna bathroom, double vanity, shower, uh, tub, water closet, and then you come into the primary bedroom. Not really big, but again, you get a fireplace, corner, you get the view, get the job done, and then your walk-in closet gets a view as well.
Yep.
Natural light coming in. And that's it. That's your first floor. So you have 2 bedrooms on this floor. Your backyard barbecue area is here. Very efficient. Let's look at the lower floor. And then on the lower floor, you come down the stairs this way.
Yep.
There's a little desk here. What is this for?
For guests who need to do work if they're traveling, it's a little desk with a internet connection and a window of the ocean.
Okay. And then you have a movie theater. Is this where you watch my videos?
No, we watch it upstairs on a smaller screen. Sorry.
I'm disappointed, Mitch. I record in 4K, you know.
I'm glad to hear.
I'm kidding. Okay. So now you made a choice here to not connect the other bedroom to the main house, right? It's kind of an ADU. Am I right? How do you get in here?
Come down. Oh, there's not. There's a doorway
Where?
just to the left, and the lower rung of stairs. You walk 2 feet and turn left, and it goes through the wall.
Over here?
Yeah, right underneath the 4'7" number.
There's a door here?
Yeah.
Is this by code, buddy? It seems like looks like it. It looks like a separate guest house. This looks like a solid wall here.
It is a solid wall, but they put a doorway in it, I assure you.
Okay, so you have access over here, okay? Because it seemed like this is like has a separate guest house for some reason. Okay, all right. So you come over here, and then you have, what is this for? What is going on here?
That's my wife's sewing room, and that's down below it is where I store garden tools.
You were complaining about your office. You put the wife in the basement against the mountain? Dude,
Yes,
she went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. She deserved better.
she rarely uses it, so
Okay. Okay, come on, Mitch. And
I'm,
then Middle Eastern men get a bad rap, you
you're going to
know?
be in trouble here.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Mitch.
I understand.
Okay, let's try to work out a window for wifey in the future, okay?
Yeah,
Um and then you come out over here, you have a water sink over here.
yep.
What is going
It's
Why
a
is this bathroom convertible?
it's a Jack and Jill, both from the guest room and the movie room if they need it.
Because you don't have I see what's going on.
I think that
Okay.
I think it's very clever.
It is. In a way it is, but it's also kind of you really like partitioning walls, okay? So like to me, this office over here, it seemed redundant when you have this huge space over here to work.
True.
As to and then you're messing up your internal wow factor to the office. Like you came down, you could have set this up completely the other way around, where the movie theater was facing this wall and you didn't have this compression space. I think it's important to make basements airy. Okay, to you let the basements try to avoid partitioning basements because you want to give it that grand feel because naturally it's not grand. You're compensating. Okay, so by putting this partition wall, you're killing the space. Where I would have taken an approach as uh, the movie theater was flipped on this side, and then your utility room is taking prime space of your basement, where I would have liked it to include it over here where this wife sewing room is very unorthodox. You would have been able to do stuff over here. Um, or at least this could have been the bathroom, okay, at the very least. Because remember, you have the space under the stairs that you could have had storage. You could have had a lot of other stuff stored as well over here. Um, and then yeah, I think your basement. I think your basement layout is nowhere near as good as your first floor layout. Don't
So
get upset. It's okay, Mitch. We all
for what it's worth, we have found that the movie room is not as deep as I would like. And I agree that little desk and that wall where the TV system is probably should not have been there. So I agree with you nowadays.
okay. So it's not too late. This is not structural, right?
Correct. It's not structural.
Yeah. Before you get too old to do these fixes, Mitch, to help the resale value, this could be a little fun project. Okay. I think rearranging this, getting rid of this, and releasing this volume and flipping this, and always playing my channel on this big wall on a big screen TV would be great. Okay. I think it would be a lot more inviting. I mean, even like coming down and looking at the couches facing you, to me, it's weird. Um, I would like the couches facing the other way to kind of because over here you have to come over here and you're like, what the hell is going on? You turn around and then you see the screen.
Right.
Um, yeah, certainly I would do that. This utility room again, I would not have put this utility room over here. Now you probably have a lot of wiring and plumbing and stuff going through this, right? Is it,
Yes.
yeah, so it's pretty much impossible to move or very difficult to move at this point and expensive to move. So you have to kind of go with it. Um, but I think I would utilize the. What are you doing with the space under the staircase here?
Part of the utility room has a large 70-gallon water heater under the stairs.
Okay, so it's unusable over there.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, I would definitely improve that. And then you have the choice to come over here. Um, like this indentation over here is a little strange that how the closet just comes in.
I gave priority to the walk-in closet for the guests and the storage area where my wife's desk is and my
Is your
storage
wife's desk over here?
to the right,
Over here?
right opposite that.
Over here.
Yes, that's her desk.
Okay. Then what is this?
Those were going to be L-shaped shelves for storage,
Storage?
but now I just have the short wall, the short indentation is all shelves, and the long part of that L is pegboard to hang
Okay,
gardening.
you see, you just made this whole hallway a complete waste. Okay.
I
So,
know.
like, this is really obvious. You should have put the closet over here on this side. Unless is this an access road? What is this door for?
Out to the backyard.
But you don't have any backyard.
It goes downstairs. You can see
Is that the only access downstairs?
at that end of the house. Yes.
You couldn't have given it to your bedroom?
No, the bedroom's a floor up.
No,
It is,
this bedroom. This bedroom. You couldn't have given an access over here?
I could have easily have done that. Yes.
Okay. So if you would have made this area the closet, okay, you would have saved this space for storage. This hallway here is completely unusable here.
Totally. I agree.
Okay. So partitioning this to make this a closet, note doesn't need any windows or anything. You could have given the access door over here, which would have been a lot more normal and convenient for this person who sleeps over here. And then this all the space would have been one uniform shape room where it would have been a lot easier to store stuff in, cabinet it, right? Um, and you wouldn't have had this hallway.
Good points.
Um, Mitch, I appreciate you coming live. Thank you for coming live. Thank you for sharing your home with us. I learned something from all these videos. Every house I look at, I learn something new. And I'm very grateful for you to share your story, Mitch. You're a good sport, and really like the fact that you're a geologist. You didn't know that. I like geologists. I find them very interesting, and very cool. I think you can, with almost no expense, just kind of have a lot of fun this fall and winter. Maybe even before Christmas, make this basement a little bit. Do you spend a lot of time in this basement?
We watch DVDs every night.
Okay. I think you can I think by rearranging this a little bit, um, getting rid of this fake wall over here, flipping it around would make the basement a lot more inviting. You could even put like a do you entertain guests and friends coming over? Do you have game rooms game nights, playing cards, or
Upstairs, we do. Yes.
you do upstairs? Okay. Are you guys much of drinkers out there, or
The winters are long and dark. So, yeah.
okay, good. So, like, again, find a little another reason beside the movie to come down. I think if you get rid of this office, okay, um, if you can find another reason to put that you enjoy, you and your wife or your friends enjoy, to give another excuse to use this downstairs space, um, would be amazing. It could be a wine cellar. It could be a whatever you enjoy. I don't know. I don't know you that well. It could be your rock collection from your geology days. Something fun. Where when you open this up, you just don't have this vacuum of space. You can let the space breathe. It could be cabinets, could be your favorite arcade game when you were a kid. It could be whatever thing that you think you would give it utility, so people can maybe before they watch a movie hang out a little bit, enjoy something, a hobby,
Mhm.
um, and also give a reason for this person who's staying in this room that doesn't want to come upstairs, right? To have
Right.
a reason to hang out in here.
Right.
Okay.
That
With
makes a
that
lot.
being said, I want to please everybody send some love to Mitch. If you want to be part of these lives, you want to join, I would love to get to know you better. and also help you in a little bit of real estate if I can, and learn about your experience here. Next week, I think I'm doing it. If you haven't subscribed, next week I'm doing a market analysis, okay? Where I think the real estate market is going to go in 2025, and also just overall economy. I think we got to do a little bit of a macro. At least you know what my take is, what I think the economy, because we really are at a place where I think at a two-way, like which way the economy is going to go. I think a lot of people are curious about that. I know I am, and where I'm hedging my bets of what's happening in the economy. And then we're also going to do that kind of a macro analysis, and then do it more of a real estate analysis of what's going to happen with the residential market. We're going to use my website, zipsmart.ai, to do some neighborhood analysis. Maybe I will pick some zip codes at people who joined the live that you can throw out. I will do an analysis of where you live, but I'm not going to have a guest next week. The week after that, I have a special guest, someone I know. It's not a stranger. I've never met him in person, but someone who's really helped me with marketing and branding, who I'm going to bring on the show. With that being said, everybody send some love to Mitch. Mitch, thank you for coming live. It was great meeting you. Thanks for supporting the channel. And thanks for sharing all the information you did. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next. Next one's not going to be Thursday, by the way. It's going to be on Wednesday, because I'm going Thursday for an inner circle client of mine. We're looking at some properties in the Bay Area, so I'm not going to be in LA. So I'm going to probably next week do it on Wednesday or Friday, one of those days. Okay. Love you guys. See you next week. Bye.
Thanks, Arvin.
Take care.